19-year-old kid.
I like that one.
Myself acting and it is more strength and more effort.
More TV shows.
The African people.
But here we are self-made hustlers.
The sound of a 19-year-old kid.
Around the world.
It's Wonder.
Music against violence.
There's a queen in every woman. That was such a powerful message that.
Oh my god. Like, I don't want you guys to miss out on this one.
Gitadeji. See this beauty, it's all in one, man. What do you want?
Of being a leader. The sound of a 19-year-old kid.
That wasn't him.
We, the people.
If you sing about love, music will cost.
Abo, Mama Miriam, Eva.
Hey, Charles, Zulu boy, and greetings to the audience out across the world.
Someone had to need to know when I'm going to wash dishes.
It doesn't matter what is your background or what is your status at the moment. There is nobody who knows you than yourself.
Hey, Carter Ford in the building. Best global studio. Yo, bro.
I'm and if I'm going to speak English, I have to give you an invoice because I've paid to learn English. But
So I'm giving you the memory, Diva.
Thank you, my God. Sure. Hopefully, my bark is as good as my bite.
All the countries around Africa, everybody was black. Even in America, the blacks, they fought for freedom,
Yes.
but I'm not even there now. Now we need to be saved from ourselves, because as a nation, as a black nation, I see a lot of anger issues from the brothers. The women are being killed, the children are being killed, murdered, raped. They even raped their grandma.
I'll actually have to start right there.
The sound of a 19-year-old kid.
I like that one.
Myself acting and it is more strength and more effort.
More TV shows.
The African people.
But here we are self-made hustlers.
The sound of a 19-year-old kid.
Around the world.
It's Wonder.
Music against violence.
There's a queen in every woman. That was such a powerful message that.
Oh my god. Like, I don't want you guys to miss out on this one.
Gitadeji. See this beauty, it's all in one, man. What do you want?
Of being a leader. The sound of a 19-year-old kid.
That wasn't him.
We, the people.
If you sing about love, music will cost.
Abo, Mama Miriam, Eva.
Hey, Charles, Zulu boy, and greetings to the audience out across the world.
Someone had to need to know when I'm going to wash dishes.
It doesn't matter what is your background or what is your status at the moment. There is nobody who yourself.
Hey, Carter Ford in the building. Like best global studio. Yo, bro.
Angazi noma ngizokhuluma isiZulu noma ngikhuluma isiNgisi. And if I'm going to speak English, I have to give you an invoice because I've paid to learn English. But isiZulu ngisifunde mahhala.
So I'm giving you the name Rediva. Rediva.
Thank you, Manika. Sure.
Hopefully, my bark is as good as my bite.
All the countries around Africa, everybody was black. Even in America, the blacks, they fought for freedom,
Yes.
but I'm not even there now. Now we need to be saved from ourselves, because as a nation, as a black nation, I see a lot of anger issues from the brothers. The women are being killed, the children are being killed, murdered, raped. They even raped their grandma.
I'll actually have to start right there.
Diverse Global Studios, Africa #1.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Real people, real talk, real time. Welcome to the Global Sunday Show with your boy Lungani Guala. Oh man, I'm so excited. I know a lot of you who are watching at home right now are super excited, not only because we have a wonderful special guest today, but because of what happened yesterday. I know the whole world was watching, and I am super excited. Yeah, I think I'm gonna talk about that later. But for now, without wasting any time, let me just welcome you if you're watching on YouTube. Welcome if you're watching on Facebook. Welcome if you're watching on Diverse TV. I'm just gonna introduce our panel for today. Not our special guest, but our panel for today, which is very interesting because one of our panel today we haven't seen for almost 10 years. 10 years! But anyways, all the way from USA, Arizona, Mr. Ken Laden. All the way from Germany, People Toffel in the building. Welcome to the Global Sunday Show. Hello, hello, hello to all of you.
Hello. So, we're going to talk about our week. I might have to bring up that topic you wanted to talk about later.
People, how you been? Long time.
Yes, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I also heard that you've been doing some stuff. So what about that?
You can't escape.
Are you talking about me?
Okay.
About me?
Oh yeah, just preparing the Global Sunday, I guess, all the week.
Well, actually, I'm gonna ask both of you, how was your week? So for people, because we haven't seen him for I don't know, like months, 2 months, 3 months, I'm gonna ask you how you've been, and what you've been busy with, and maybe you can, put us through, the whole time when you were not around until today, if you can summarize before we introduce our today's guest.
All right, so you're gonna introduce the guest after that, man. I'm getting mixed up with the time phrases here and the months you mentioned. We met the beginning of this year. It feels like when I left, that was kind of snow there in Arizona, in Prescott. Yes, but it feels like yesterday. I've been traveling. I've also been involved in different projects. And also this week, I've been working on 5 different projects. So there's stuff that happens in the same time, but in different places. And I currently do some video editing that I just finalized, and some more is going to come up. I'm also doing some podcast editing. That is a project that is very exciting, and working on that. And I went to the movies again, and it feels so amazing. I was at the movies yesterday and the day before. I saw fantastic films. One about a poet, a German poet in his late 70s, made by a director by himself, over the last 10 years. Beautiful. And yesterday I've seen a film in 16 millimeters in a screening that was shot in 1985 in Paris, in the outskirts, called Banlieue. And they call it Cinema Beurre. So about the people that, France as a colonial country that was active in many other countries, had a lot of people coming to France. And this film was about people with Algerian roots and roots in, different other countries, and how they spent their days. There's a teenager and he just finished school. So it was incredible to see this movie and to see also how the world looked like in that time. It was mainly shot with not professional actors, but in German is Laiendarsteller, so non-professionals. And to see it in this film material was amazing, and also to reflect about, what's going on in the world. And so I went to the movies yesterday, and it just made me very, very happy to get this new input. What about you, Ken?
We lost Ken's sound.
We lost the sound of Ken.
No, no audio from me?
Now you're back in audio.
Now I'm back. Okay. Oh, darn. I said something really important and I don't remember what it was. No, I'm just joking. This last week was, of course, a major challenge for us. I'm director of the Margot Fonteyn Academy of Ballet, which is closely related with the British Crown. And so the loss of the Queen is, of course, everybody expected it. She was 96, but no matter when you lose a parent or a leader or a social figure, it's very jarring. But also, the whole colonial era and the place of the crown. It's very, very interesting week that as we come out of COVID and we go from our isolation of Zoom and Skype and all of that back into face-to-face contact with people, that this event happens. And for me, it's personally very sad. We worked closely with Her Majesty, and so that's a personal loss, but also for the world, it's a bit disorienting. But at the same time, it's a change of an era. And really, with her 70 years of rule during the post-colonial phase in the world, we've seen this upsurgence of a need for all of the people of the world to be equal players and not just the white rich nations subjugating the lesser ones. So I think it's a very exciting time. But on top of that, for the past several months in our household, one of the members of our household has been having to get up and have rehearsals at 3 o'clock in the morning every day. And, that sort of all came to fruition. And I too went to see movies, but I saw it in a live theater. And the one movie I saw was it was this surgeon, and she was doing some surgery, and after it was over, she gets a phone call, and it turned into this just really amazing thing. And so, how was your week, Lungani?
Thank you. Thank you. My week was awesome. It was a great week, and I've been busy with Dancing for the Stars, just like Mr. Ladin just mentioned right now, but he wasn't very specific. But yeah, I've been busy with Dancing for the Stars, and yesterday was the last event, the VIP event. I was picked up by a limo, and yeah, I'm gonna share the photos on my personal account. If you follow me on Facebook, you will see that, and also I'll be sharing some videos. But also, I think I will share a short video of our film that we played during our performance at Dancing for the Stars. It was really amazing, and yeah, and we won. Me and Dr. Tang, we won. So yeah, it was really amazing, like proud moments, and yeah, I'm super excited. It's been an exciting week, but yet hectic.
As always with Tech Week, it's always hectic.
And yeah, we just did some upgrades here in the studio, so I've been dealing with tech since this morning, so that's quite interesting. But yeah, I know we have even greater news, because we're gonna be interviewing our one and only amazing rapper from New York, William Bostick, a very close friend of mine. We became friends like 2 years ago. Very, very amazing, inspiring man. So I'm looking forward to have a conversation with him. It's just going to be an open conversation. We want to know where he is, how far he has gone after the last conversation we had with him like a year or two ago, which was really interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. If none of you have to say anything, we're just going to take a break.
So I just want to say more slowly what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
He won. He got the Judge's Choice Award of all 10 acts that were competing, and it was really good that he won, because if he hadn't won, I would have had to go and punch out the judges myself. But it was an excellent, excellent performance, and I hope that you will be able to see some of it. I mean, I was just a proud dad, and it was incredible too, because it was the first time in almost 20 years that I was able to just sit in the auditorium and watch Lungani perform, and I didn't have anything else to be doing, like directing or choreographing or lights or sound or anything, and it was heavenly, and I couldn't have been more pleased. Beautiful. Do we have any footage of it that we can show, or?
Well, yeah, I'll play a footage later from from the performance that we did, but it's just a film, so I cannot play the actual dance that we did for now, but I'll play the film that we featured on our performance.
Okay,
so, yeah.
Great.
People, shall we take a break and introduce our guest?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here again with William Bostick. He's a, unique rapper and artist, and he is a poet, and he's a man, and he's a father, and he also will tell us about the things that he has done in the past year. We've met before, and I wish I could have gone to New York and just meet him there. And I hope that I'll have that possibility, and that the four of us will be in one room together. But for now, I'll join in the digital room, and welcome William Bostick.
Hey.
Oh, are we going to him straight? Okay, all right. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. I'm down for it.
Hey, William. Hey.
What's going on, man? What's happening, guys?
Welcome to the Global Sunday. Welcome back, actually. I should be saying
Thank you for having me back. Thank you for having me back, guys, man.
How you been? Before
I've been
before
good,
I throw a question at you and ask you to tell people who are watching at home who is William Bostick, because I know this is season 2. We have new followers, we have new fans, we have new supporters. How you been? How you been?
I've been good, man. Living life, just living life, trying to take it as easy as possible, especially with all the craziness that goes on in this world. You know, you see madness every day, it starts to stick to you. So I try not to let the craziness stick to me, and I kind of just do what I do, man. And I'm just living life, enjoying my kids and enjoying the new music that I'm creating.
Do you guys want to welcome William Bostick?
Oh, absolutely. William Bostick, I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
So I used to do a stage show, and in the stage show, I would take questions from the audience, and then we'd improvise an answer. And one time, I said to the band, I'd tell them what kind of music, and they'd start riffing on something, and I'd read the question and sort of make up a song on the moment. And I happened to use the word urban, and so all of a sudden, this rap beat starts happening, and I'm like, oh no, like I am the not rappiest person on earth. And one of my kids, my daughter, was in the production. She was a singer, and after I improvised my urban song, she came up to me and said, "Papa, don't you ever do that in public again." She was humiliated. Anyway. Wow. And so I just sort of shied away from all of that. I loved Queen Latifah. I loved her messaging. I thought it was really important what Eminem did in terms of talking about real human issues. But for the rest of the most of the part, rap it was a life that I didn't understand. I was not part of until your music. And your music just completely rewrote my understanding of and connection with rap. I was just like, wow, this is, rhythm and poetry, and it is meaningful, it's vital, it's important. And the evolution of your own life was in it, but it wasn't in it in a self-centered I'll talk about me way. It was as a guide for people. So I sort of see you picking up where Queen Latifah left off, and then a week or two ago we had another young rapper from Mississippi, I think, that is Millionaire Stunner, and who is launching this sort of Christian rap. But again, it's like that life experience that teaches a lesson, and then telling them the lesson, not just, Anyway, so you totally changed my relationship with this kind of music, and I am so happy, I'm
glad that I was able to do that for you.
Oh, it's just, you really opened my eyes, and more than that, my heart. And so thank you. I'm so excited to have you back here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. First and foremost, shout out to Dana Owens, aka Queen Latifah. A lot of people don't know I come from the Flavor Unit tree. Dana was a big influence on my career, period. My mentor produced a lot of music for Queen Latifah. So coming up as a kid, I got to hear a lot of music from Latifah, Lakim Shabazz, Chill Rob G, Apache, from the Flavor Unit crew, which was her crew, So yeah, they inspired me a lot to write the way I write now, or the way I was writing.
I did not know that, but I saw that. But to me, it was when Queen Latifah to you. There's a direct connect, at least from in my sensibilities. And I'm really old, so young people probably are aware of a lot more in the world than I'm aware of. But I think that's great. An absolute shout out to her. She is one of the people that turned this country around, leading into the Million Man March and all of that stuff. I mean, really important stuff.
Definitely. Shout out to Dana.
William, when you say crew, what does it mean? I was thinking about it, and the first time ever I felt what I suppose is a crew is when I was accepted as a dance student. And the first class, because it's a class system, there was 20 dancers in one class together. The first class, it felt like family. Later, when I didn't pass the exam and I had to repeat the year because that was how the system worked because of ballet, It wasn't good enough.
Mm.
And I changed class and I didn't have the feeling anymore. So can you talk about it?
Crew is for us, the way we came up. Crew is individuals you came up with, you can trust, you can build with ideas. Crew is, yeah, a brotherly, sisterly love. You know, that's the best way to describe a crew. Is those are your brothers and sisters that you don't share the same parents with. Um, your extended family. You know, but now sometimes crew won't be forever. You know, some individuals change. Some people grow. They become different people. They start to experience different things in life, and what was once crew to them or a family is no longer a family. It was just like, oh, those were my associates for a while, and I've had that happen. You know, to me, um, a lot. You know, where individuals you thought were crew, you thought were family, were really not your family. They weren't your crew. They weren't down for you. They were just opportunists. So, crew, you have to watch it with that too. You know, when we grew up, it's like you gotta watch who you call crew, who you call family, who you call bro, because you don't know if this person gonna change on you later in life. You know, but yeah, crew is a collective of people that you can work on music with and throw around ideas and build. You know, Queen Latifah, Chill Rob G, Apache. They were like family. Like I mean, literally like family. There was a bond there. So I learned that young, seeing them, seeing how they moved, and then later on in life, meeting infamous Mob from Mob Deep, and Godfather and Twin and Ty Nitty, and seeing how their bond is. Even with brothers and sisters, you fight, you argue, you may not talk for a couple of months, a year, but hey, that you can't break that bond. You know what I mean? Them guys, they had a bond. Flavor Unit, that was a bond. That was a crew. The Juice Crew, that was a crew. They had a bond there, and then the bond broke. Same thing with Tribe Called Quest. There was a bond, and then the bond broke. Um, yeah, so that's the definition of crew: is a collective of people that you can actually create some stuff with.
Thank you. It's beautiful the way you explained it and described it. And in the film I just mentioned, which is called Tea at the Harem of Archimedes, it's about that. It's about two guys that, I mean, they got on each other's nerves in the film, but they stick together and they have each other's back. And it's kind of how the film ends, with this message that no matter what's happening, there was this bond between these two young men. And, as rough as the world can be, this is something that is not visible, it's not written, it's nothing you can pay for, and yet it's worth all the world.
I often think I think in terms globally of a tribe, of the people that have dedicated their lives to their art, their expression, for the purpose of expressing, so that you can share that outward. People who have talent, who've developed their talent, we've all worked so hard. I think of that as a tribe, and then I think that inside the tribe there are clans, and then inside the clans there are villages, and then there's like neighborhoods. But this term crew definitely applies to me. But as a dancer and a singer, and performer in acting since I was a child, every time we'd get together and do a cast of something, I remember I was in the touring cast of Sweet Charity, the Broadway show, for 47 weeks. So that's almost an entire year. And I was 16, I think, or 17. And when that ended, I didn't know what to do. I actually was on driving home. I had to go over to bridge, and I was thinking of just driving off the side of the bridge because I just totally lost my bearing. And the thing that upset me was when the last show was there, I thought there'd be a party, we'd all get together, and they were like, okay, see ya, and I'm like, what? Well, then I got my next gig, and there were, 19 of those 30 people were in that one, and then the one after that, it was it, and then I realized, oh, we'll see each other over and over again. It's like it's not over. It's not the production. It is the crew. And so that's a good word, new word for me.
Well, yeah, I remember I used to be in a dance crew, and it was so different. Now that it's really interesting that you just mentioned that Bostick, because I never looked at it that way, but now that you just mentioned it, I'm thinking about it. I'm looking back, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, he's right. That's exactly what it was. We will be there for each other, not only when we're going to perform. Also, it's it's a little bit different to what Mr. Ludden just explained. It's the same, but in a different way. Because if I say I'm going somewhere, they want to go with me, even if it's something that has nothing to do with dance. They just want to be next to me. So it was like a family, an extended
super
family.
bond
Like
that was built. Yeah, super
exactly,
bond that was
exactly,
built. Yeah.
exactly. So we look up for each other, because if anything happens to me today, tomorrow I won't be part of the crew, to go perform or to hang out or to inspire or to do. So we made sure that we took care of each other
Yeah.
and making sure that we check on each other. If you're going somewhere, they would check on you and say, hey, let us know when you come back home. Are you okay? Do you need anything? There was a time where I was I was traveling to China, and we were invited to this restaurant, and everybody got drunk. Everybody got drunk. I was the only one who was not drunk, and I was picking them up, putting them in the vehicle, our transportation back home, and one of the guys almost, threw himself out of the window. He didn't know he was too drunk to even remember, but I was right next to him. He was vomiting. He was doing all these things that a person would be like, "Oh no, I cannot be part of this." And I got drivers yelling at me, and he said, "You say you're gonna look after him." I was like, "I'm trying," and he's fighting me. But anyways, because it wasn't just a friend, it wasn't just a crew member, it wasn't just a group member. It was a family, an extended family. We woke up and we joked about it the following day, but we said no more, no more, because if we lose one of us, there won't be a crew anymore, because we're a crew, because we're a family. So thank you for mentioning that. It takes me back to those times, and it made me realize that I wasn't part of a dance group. I was part of a family.
Yeah, crew.
People.
So, William, we talked when we met today. We talked about records, right?
Vinyl, the resurgence of vinyl.
Yes, and I want to get back to that. I think that was amazing what Ken and you just talked about. But I also feel that, well, I want to get an update on what you have been working on, if that's possible.
For sure.
I wish I would have been able, to look up some works, but that's also part of the reason that I haven't been here, that I want to be here and be able to prepare. And just because we met already, I said, okay, I can be here and not prepare and still join, because I did that the last time to maybe an extent that I got a good idea of what you were working on.
Yeah.
So forgive me for that I haven't,
It's all
but
good,
you
man.
always send me messages, and unfortunately,
for sure.
not in touch. And I know you are really crazy busy, but I have a tape for you here with German rap that I want to send you, and we gotta make sure
For sure.
You have a cassette deck?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely have one. I definitely have a cassette deck. I'm trying to buy an 8-track player now. I'm trying to find one.
No, we gotta do that later. So what's been on? What's been going on?
Just since the last time I was on the show, I'm presently not rapping. I focused more on the production, getting with a lot of younger artists, putting, you know, projects together with them, and producing for them. Um, as far as what we were just talking about, the resurgence of vinyl. Um, for a lot of recording artists, streaming platforms don't make us any money. And I say a lot of artists because a lot of us are not Nicki Minaj, 50 Cent, Adele to stream 2 billion, 3 billion, or Drake to stream 15 billion streams. You know, we get paid 1.3% of a penny per stream. There's no money in that. I can't feed my family off of that. So rappers, we found a way to make our money back by doing direct to consumer. You have to purchase the music directly off of me, which also allowed us to bring the vinyl thing back. A lot of companies, a lot of, you know, electronic companies started making these little portable turntables because everything was going retro again. Everybody wanted to have this retro feel. So everybody wants the vinyl because everyone knows, and whether you're young, old, or whatever, somewhere along the lines you've been told, there is no sound that will compare to vinyl. The sound that comes off of a vinyl record through a stereo is uncomparable. It just doesn't match. So a lot of people want that sound again. So a lot of these companies started making old turntables, you know, well, new, but with this old look and all that. So we started printing vinyl again. Initially, it was like a novelty item. Now it's being printed on a mass level again. We were talking earlier, we were talking about Adele, her ordering an outlandish amount of vinyl in this era, and it halted all other vinyl production for the little guys. All the little guys that were going to these vinyl companies, they were telling us it was going to take 10 months for us to get our product back. It's still like that with a lot of it, because it's like that, you know. Sorry, I just lost my chain of thought real quick.
Well, in Germany last year,
Yeah.
I was working on a project, and it was conversation with performing artists born in the 30s, between 30s and 1950s.
Okay.
And one intention was to publish it also on cassettes and on vinyl.
Yeah.
And so I approached a couple of companies. And at that time, that's about 12 months ago, there was already a kind of 3 to 6 months delay until you received the final product. And part of that was that the machines do not exist anymore. So if you find a company that can produce a vinyl in Germany, it's companies that have bought old machines that, you know, in somewhere where they found it again, and they have to restore it, and they have to produce parts for it when they break.
Yeah.
Because those parts is like an old timer, you know. The equipment they're using is old timer equipment. You know, they have to get those parts to get the machine running. So it's not only producing records or vinyl, but it's also maintenance. It's also
maintenance on the equipment.
knowledge.
Yeah.
It's a kind of know-how that goes into the production.
Yeah.
I went through all the research and all the different companies in Germany, and then some in Austria, and also in the cassette production. You know, I also looked at that, and it was very interesting because producing a vinyl, you would also need a different mix. Producing a record, you need a different mix. You need someone who knows about which mix you need. Then you make a test, and then they send you that test, and you listen to it. And that's all a procedure that you're not doing at home. And we got used to being able doing stuff at home, you know. When I started studying film in 1999, I bought my first computer. That was an Apple MacBook called Gizmo. And it was the first computer that had a FireWire 400 interface, which was the first one to allow to get the input from the camera directly into the computer. That wasn't possible before. So it was the first DV, digital video. And at that time, it was a revolution because I could work on editing with my camera and my computer. That was Final Cut 1. The software came on the market when I started studying film. And so we got used to being able to do stuff ourselves. Now, suddenly with a record production, you're kind of, well, hold on, there's a queue. There's nothing you can do. The machine broke and you got to send them the stuff. And it's beautiful, but it's
over here in the States now, there's a lot of vinyl printing companies. There's a lot of places that print vinyl, they print cassettes, they print CDs, but it's still a very long wait because now everyone is doing it. All the independent artists are printing vinyl, they're printing cassettes and CDs. So some companies may tell you it's an 8-month wait. Some companies will tell you it's 11 weeks to 15 weeks. Some places will tell you, listen, you're gonna wait 1.5 years. Now it also depends
don't even
on,
accept orders anymore.
No thanks. They won't accept the order because they can't fulfill the order. It'll take them too long. It'll take them 2 years to fulfill the order. It also depends on whether you're doing just all black vinyl, the clear vinyls, you're having the color splats put in, because all that is a big, difference in the time you will get your vinyl back. There's some companies I know that have these deals where they'll take like all the vinyl that wasn't used, the colors that weren't used, and they'll give them to you a lot cheaper, but you don't know what color you're going to get when you open the record. So you may, hope that you get clear vinyl and it may show up, hot pink, purple, green. You don't know. You open up the vinyl and you're like, oh, okay, this is what I got, but you're getting it at a discount. Some places I know that do that. There's a lot of production now in the 45s, the old smaller records, a lot more of printing those, like break records and stuff.
When you said the word old timer, you woke me up. I was on the beach with Pamela Anderson at the time, but you woke me up, and I'd like to look at also in this discussion of the resurgence of vinyl, the actual sound. For those of you out there who are watching who've never made a film, there's this thing that they have to do, which is they have to capture the room sound. And so they will go in with all of their sound equipment when nobody's in the room, and they will just record the sound of that room. And if that sound is not mixed into the film or the video, it doesn't sound right, it doesn't look right. So as an elder here, when CDs first came, and it went from vinyl to cassette tape, which both recorded analog sound in the reality, and that analog sound was what was on the media that you were listening to. When they went to digital, all of the sounds were recorded imitation turned into electronic impulses of sound. So it wasn't actually sound. The sound was happening when those electronic impulses hit the speaker head and it vibrated. But there was no room sound. There was no fingers on a guitar going along the string. There was no breathing. There was no, there's a slight echo, like if you've got a red neon sign outside of your window, even if the curtains are closed, the ceiling's going to be a little pink. There's a little bit of bleed over, and for me and my age group, if any of you guys are still alive, send me a message. But in my age group, it sounded all of a sudden like we were in a laboratory in a vacuum behind thick glass listening to something that was sort of like music, but it wasn't there. And so what you're able to do now by doing the vinyl projects is bring back what sound actually sounds like. And sound is cool. If you've ever been to a concert, you remember that concert always. And part of that is because of the whole sound of it, not just the music. And so how does that impact you now with these new projects and these young artists? How do they discover this and work with it?
Um, excuse me. Most artists nowadays, well, I'm not gonna say most. Let me take that back. Some artists nowadays, especially the younger artists, they don't know about vinyl. So when you present it to them, they're like, "Huh? What's that?" They don't know about the analog world. They were born in a digital world. So some of them who get it, that know the culture, that know the history of music and just the rap world. We started on vinyl records. We started taking breaks off of old jazz records and all that. Some of those that know the history would be like, hell yeah, let's print my stuff on vinyl. Some of them are like, because they don't think they can sell them as well. That's the thing. You don't want to get stuck with 200 vinyls that you're sitting on and you can't move them. So if you don't have the core audience to sell the vinyl, sometimes it's not smart to, purchase a large number of vinyls to try to resell them.
It takes also space.
It takes a lot of space.
A lot of space.
A lot of space. Trust me, I have a small recording studio. I have 3 milk crates, and I'm looking to get rid of them because it's too much stuff, and it's only 3 crates. Now, as far as the sound, I can say that yes, from going to vinyl to cassette to a digital world, it definitely changed. The sound got like really sharp and crisp. But now there are VSTs and plugins that we can use to make it sound very old and very give it that vintage sound. The guitars that actually have that finger ripping across the string. A lot of the production now is being done with live instrumentation. A lot of the production for rap, it's either samples from old records or it's a live guitar or something in a loop that's being sampled and chopped up, because I know I do it a lot. When I'm producing, I have musicians that I will go to, friends that I'm like, yo, look, I need this bass part to be played this way, and they'll play it, and now that's a live sound that I'm incorporating into this digital recording. And that also is, I guess, the reason why my music stands out a little bit. I try to go outside the box. You can't put me in a box. I always say that. You can't put me in a box. I always try to step outside the box. Whether it be a sample and I'm having, instrumentation played over it, I just like that sound, that old vintage sound. So when I'm making something, I'm already making it with the idea of this is going to be printed on a record. So I want it to be as vintage sounding, as underground or dirty sounding as possible, because I know how it's going to come across on that vinyl record, when it's played. So yeah, with me, it's a lot of artists don't get the sound. They print vinyl just for the profit. I look at it like, man, I'm with the sound of it. The sound. To me, there's nothing like the sound of vinyl. I own every Roy Ayers album that's ever been printed. And I can listen to them albums over and over, but I can't listen to them on Spotify. They don't sound the same. The sound coming off that record, there's nothing like it. So yeah, like you saying, it picks up the frequencies in the room. It picks up a person's mood. Back when we recorded the tape, that all picked up. It picked up the mood in the room, and that stuck to the tape. None of that is possible anymore. You're recording to a laptop. You're editing everything on a laptop. You're mixing it, mastering, and putting it out. There's some producers that still record the tape. Shout out to Adrian Young, who does not do anything digitally. And he's got records with Snoop Dogg. He's got records with Ghostface Killer from the Wu-Tang Clan. And this guy's a producer who produces only with live instrumentation, and you would think he's doing it on a drum machine, but this is live instrumentation, and he still records the tape because of that sound, that feeling. You want that feeling.
You know, in 2007, I did an album with my stage show, and we were going to be doing a tour in Australia, and I did a remake of the old Sonny Bono song, "The Beat Goes On," and I had a quintet of brass, and the people in the studio were like, "What, are you crazy? What? We'll just use a sample." I said, "No, we're going to use that," and we did. And there's something like that Motown brass sound that was, and I made them record it on analog and take the analog recording and put that onto the thing. And I got all these calls from other musicians wanting to purchase the digital plug-in packet that was that brass.
No, that was live.
That was live. Nothing like live.
Yeah, it's nothing like live instrumentation. It's human. Digitalization took away the humanization of music. Even with the way some vocals come across. I've had, other engineers or other producers ask me why I don't remove the breaths in between the person when they're rapping, and I'm like, because it's not human. It's not human to rap and not breathe. Like, there's some sort of something in the rap. Leave it there. That's the humanization. That's, also with the production. There's this thing called filler notes, where with a drummer, he played a note to stay on time. Whether it be a hi-hat or he was tapping the stick on, the drum or the snare or something. There's like filler notes. They're in-between notes that make these drums sound real. I'm huge on filler notes. I'm huge on it. Like, my drums always have to have these filler notes, because if not, to me, they just sound very synthetic, very stiff. Boom, bap, boom, bap. There's no boom, tap, bap, boom, tap, bap. I like them filler notes so I could get that rhythm going. I don't like stiffness. So with digital, it was a lot of stiffness. I come from the MPC 60, which is made by Akai. It's an old device. We used to use it. It was a production station. I come from that. So when I had to transition from that to producing on a laptop, it took me a little while to get the humanization that I was able to achieve on the MPC 60 in, like, per se, Fruity Loops or Logic, or even in Pro Tools. It wasn't that simple because it was digital. I had to learn how to swing the drum, how to add the filler note in a certain area there in the digital world. It's a lot different than doing things analog. So yeah, there's a lot with humanization in music that digital doesn't achieve.
We'll take our kids at the academy to a symphony, and and they'll sit there and they're just like, it's almost like they're sitting above their chairs. They can't believe that human beings doing this stuff. And you say about picking up the mood, it picks up everything. It's not just breathing, it's swallowing. It's the sound of your lips when your mouth has been closed and they open. There's this little pop. It's very silent. But what does it say that we have to go and work and add things to make something that came from a human being again be human? That's really a bizarre statement. You know what I mean? That we have to do that. And God bless you for doing it, because reality is what we're in. No matter how much you want to airbrush and Photoshop your reality, for a good Facebook angle, and a selfie, you're in reality. We're all in reality. Hello, you know what I mean? And I think coming out of COVID has made us hopefully appreciate reality again, because so much had to be digitized and isolated in COVID that I'm really hoping that this return to vinyl is a return to being human, a whole package.
Yeah. I hope it opens the mind of the youth. you know, because a lot of these young kids now, the younger artists are printing their stuff on vinyl. So I'm hoping that the younger kids who are recording artists that are up and coming see that is a way to go, you know, because it really is. I'd rather hear your stuff on vinyl than to hear it on Spotify, you know.
Do you think at some point, since a lot of things are changing, they become easier to use, but at the same time, we lose the quality? Do you think
Yeah,
at some point there will be a time where things go back to where they used to be before?
I don't think we ever going back. Sad to say. COVID and the way the world just changed. Everything changed during COVID. Everything changed. This pandemic really changed people's outlook. Um, it made people paranoid. I tell you that. Everybody's paranoid. Most people don't want to go outside. They don't want to be around someone. As soon as someone sneezes or coughs, the whole world is like, you know. So I don't think it's ever going to go back to, you know, what we considered normal. This is our normality now. This is normal. This is what our normal was going to be. As far as music, I think because of the pandemic, people started to get more into a classic sound of music. I know for me, during the pandemic, it gave me time to study stuff that I didn't necessarily have time for before. You know, while sitting home quarantined, you know, a couple of times because of people at my job when I was working, people in the studio, you know, just taking precaution. It allowed me to listen to music that I didn't necessarily have time to listen to before. And it allowed me to divulge into stuff and appreciate stuff that I didn't appreciate before. So I think for music, it kind of went back, you know, to the origin, you know, in a sense. People, you know, artists and just people in general are appreciating music more. There wasn't much to do. So, you know, Club Quarantine was birthed during the quarantine and the pandemic, where DJs were going live on social media platforms and playing music, and they were playing all types of genres of music. So it allowed people to open up their minds a lot more too, to different genres, to different sounds when it comes to music. But as far as normality in the world, I think this is going to be our normal for now. You know, like that's it. You know, everybody's going to be like, you know, virus conscious now of everything. Now we have this whole monkeypox outbreak. And now in New York, I'm hearing we got cases of polio, you know. So I don't know if the world is ever going to go back to what we know as being normal. But music kind of took a turn to go back, you know, and be a little more vintage and old school, I guess, you know, people divulging back into that.
Show, there's a South African comedian, Lengend will be able to tell you the name, and he did this interview on like Zoom or Skype with, I think, Carly B and Nicki Minaj. Okay. And it's hysterical. But we've now seen so many of these celebrities in their home or their setup of home and all of that. But we've also heard the sound of the cup going down on the glass, the breathing, all of that stuff. That's another thing from COVID, you know, that now people that before they were only produced and airbrushed and pristine, now we've seen them at home, you know, relaxed.
You see the realness.
Yeah, and it's real, and real is wonderful.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
People, well, I have a music video. I think it is called Scribes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Scribes
I have
is
that
like
music video, and I would like to play it for people whenever you guys allow me to, or if you allow me to play the music video. Maybe do you want to take a break? Do you guys want to take a break and we come back and talk some more?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, if it's his music, yeah. Let's take a long break.
Well, if you're
Can we talk about the landing stripe of Mr. Ludden, the bikini zone, please?
No, no. I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too.
All right, so if you are watching at home, you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook, just watch this video, listen to the lyrics, and if you hear something that really interests you, just drop a comment below. I'll share that with Bostick. We're gonna talk some more when we come back. Remember, you're watching the Global Sunday Show, and this is season 2. Today we have William Bostick all the way from New York. We'll be right back. This is the Global Sunday.
I strive pain, but I ain't the type to brag about it. I dig deep and jot lines and let you blog about it. My lines are quotables, further you being testaments, biblical scriptures written by God, painting vivid pictures. Sunny in my yacht, reflection in Elegua with the power of Chango. So all praise to my Santos. It's them spiritual forces helping me move these mountains. Disciples and prophets leading me right to the fountain. You hear that chant, now the ground gon' shake. That's the power of a real nigga possessed by a saint. I bite from the strange fruit. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So it's mandatory that I'm always strapped with a weapon. Right in my midsection, extra clip for protection. Trained since an adolescent to prep for the unexpected. And keep a watch with your third eye. It be your left hand that eventually turn right. Then it's good night. I scribe pain that the world gon' feel. Bars written from real life, so you know they trill. You see me, I'm unorthodox. I'm right from off the block. I'm right from where them killers bop and scream fuck the cops. We still some niggas with some attitudes, just wise and more intelligent. Not focus on that petty shit. We tryna quadruple the flip. Bag of snare samples and kicks with a sprinkle of that raw shit. Marvelous, while puffing my eyeballs over this beat that's ominous. With lyrics so insightful they could be studied in colleges. With a will to demolish it, abolish all the garbageness. They look past the Puerto Rican and acknowledge the God of him. It's a part of my arrogance, part of the walk, part of the talk. I move like an official nigga that embodies all New York. I'm in my own lane, doing my own thing. Still slinging that cocaine through wordplay that's propane. Willie my damn name.
Welcome back to the Global Sunday, everybody. We're happy you're joining us today. We are here with Ken Ludden. We're here with Lungani Gwala, who won yesterday the jury's, decision for a beautiful dance contest, and our very special guest, William Bostick, straight from New York. I'm Pippo Tafel from Köln, Germany. Here we go. I want to get back to something you mentioned, William.
Okay.
And you talked about straight to customer.
Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting because it seems to me that this is a healthy process of being in touch with the people that actually are interested in your work,
Yeah.
rather than this going through other people or other middlemen. And can you talk a bit about that?
Sure. Basically, before the whole digital world, I'm sorry. Before the whole digital world, the whole Spotify thing and everything, um, we used to have to sell our music on CDs. We would have to go out there in the street, move the CDs, go sell them out the back of our trunks or cars and all that. Same concept. The reason why it's a lot more of a resurgence in it is because these streaming platforms don't pay. We get paid 1.3% of a penny per stream. So going direct to consumer and direct to the customer and direct to your fan, having them directly buy the music off of you, one, you're making your money that you spent studio time for production, mixing, mastering. But yeah, it also gives you a more one-to-one interaction with your fans. Now you're not just a recording artist. You're a person that actually responds to these people. You talk to them. You have conversations. You're not the celebrity or the rapper or the producer guy that's untouchable, unreachable. I'm big on that. A lot of my fans could tell you I've had huge conversations with them. I've even video chatted with them. I won't put too much of the person's business out, but I actually saved somebody from committing suicide through my music and being a fan. Yeah, it's deep, Give me 1 second.
I want to mention something, and take as much time as you want. I was in touch with a company in LA last week, and it's about an equipment that I'm looking at to get for working in a distance. And I had a call with the company founder and the other guy of the sales, and we talked about him and his vision and why he developed this kind of equipment. I never had that before. I only had it with artists or when I buy something in the store, or you go to a restaurant, that's also beautiful that you are in touch with people. But this is a machine we're talking about, a machine that, provides multi-camera video streaming. And I'm interested in it so we can stream performances that have multiple angles, or we can do teaching, and then the student can take on a thumbnail drive the streamed recording with them, and they can look at what they did. And that can be very helpful, to go through stuff immediately. And I was stunned because the level to detail, maybe, or I don't even know, there was a connection there, and it went beyond selling something. And it's just incredible. I mean, I saw this interview with the person on a blog. The guy is called Larry Jordan. He's in the industry for, I think, 40 years. And I contacted them, and they made this. I mean, we had an exchange by email, and then we had this conversation. So I'm talking to the company founder, and we're talking about the possibilities. And the guy says, yeah, that what you want to do, we never planned the machine to do that.
Yeah.
And it was so helpful, rather than being on a website and having a real conversation with the creator.
Yeah.
And although it's a machine, this is still a person who put
the guy who thought up the machine, who created the machine. Yeah.
And I think we're talking about creators, and also, and at some point he was explaining, and I asked him, so why did you develop this machine? And he explained some of it. And then I explain some of my work, and then he starts to talk about his grandchildren.
Yep.
It's like, well, that is really interesting.
You wind up having those conversations, you know. I've had them a couple of times with my fans. You know, I got fans in Chile. I got fans, you know, all over that hit me up and ask me all kind of random stuff. Some of it is a little crazy, and some of it I stay away from. Some of it is like boxing. You gotta fight them off. But some of it is just, you know, them admiring the work. You know, some of it is just them telling me about their real life situations and how my music, you know, made them, you know, look at certain parts of their life and, you know, and really, you know, analyze themselves, I guess. And I'm still mind blown by it. You know, I tell people all the time, you know, I was just telling one of my friends the other day, shout out to Dome Piece. I was telling him, I'm like the simple rapper. I admire some of these other artists I work with because they're the more complex rapper. I wish I could say things the way they say it, you know, and put it together the way they put it. But, you know, Allah didn't bless me that way. He blessed me with what he gave me, which was the simplicity of getting my point across, and giving it to you as real as possible. Like I said, I admire the guys who do the complex rap and all that. I wish I could do it. But I'm okay with, you know, me being the simple rapper guy who gets the point across. I can say I've reached, you know, tons of fans that way, you know, because if I didn't, you know, they wouldn't be, you know, telling me in my inbox, yo, you changed this and changed that. And just even if it was one, just even if I reach one person, I've done something good. You know what I mean? I've done something good because, you know, reaching one person through music is a big deal. You know, there's tons and tons of artists out there. I mean, tons and tons of artists. You know, you have probably, I would say right now in the new school, there's probably like 1 million plus artists in New York City alone, you know? So to have, you know, 1 million plus artists and me be the one guy that reached this one fan and this fan took something out of what I said, you know, or even taken an idea of mine and flipped it and made it their own, you know, because I sampled someone, why not, you know, sample me? And those who have done it have sampled me and flipped it. Yeah, sometimes it's blatant and I'm like, geez, man, you couldn't have changed that up a little bit more. But, you know, you still at the end of the day appreciate it. You're like, well, at least you know, you took my work, you know, and you loved my work so much that you had to take it. Even with, you know, just certain situations I've dealt with in the past with, you know, production being stolen. After a while, you know, initially I was upset. Like, wow, you really took that and said that you made it when I have all the proof that I did it. You know, but then months later, I'm like, yo, you know what? If my production drove you to do that and for you to say you to steal it, you know what? I did something good. I did something good, you know, because the world already knows you didn't do this. The world knows I did it. So, you know, it is what it is, you know.
That sounds to me, I cannot recall ever having had one exchange after a performance as a performing artist where people came to me and said that. That's really deep what you're talking about. But also I believe that it's connected to the difficulty of me of dealing with what I wanted to do, what I did, and then what was perceived, because that's three different things. And I must say that the digital means and the social media seem to have brought the possibility of sharing something about the work that before wasn't possible in that way. You know, I mean, I can remember that I would go to a choreographer after a performance and I would go behind, you know, the stage and I wanted to meet them and I would ask them questions. I would say like, why do you do a work? What drives you? And, you know, we would stand there and be, you know, in the, what's that, Ken? In the sides, in the
wings.
The wings.
in the wings. Yeah, you're standing in the wings or on the stage, or I mean, I always loved that. However, I can't, maybe I had that, but I can't recall of having that kind of exchange you just mentioned as a performing artist. And it always was something that was saddening me also, that there is this kind of curtain or the fourth wall, and it still separates me from what I do and what people perceive. And I've accepted it by now that in a way I do what I do, I'm dedicated to it, and I'm fully in. But then once it's done, it's kind of like, you remember as a kid we would have little ships or airplanes with made by paper, and you throw it away and it's gone.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels, like putting that little ship on paper or on a river. It goes, and I don't know, and I even struggle getting feedback because I never know how to deal with that. It's kind of, usually I have worked on the product so much that for me at that time, I don't say it's perfect, but that's where it is. And then, I put it out, and a lot of the people, they have difficulty to understand because they say, well, you got to push the message. You got to tell people you're there. You got to, and I go like, I feel it's legitimate and I think it's beautiful if it is there, but somehow I don't have that. But then the conversations I have with my peers or my crew, that gets me, like the conversation we're having now about that has it goes deep. It goes really deep. And I feel I'm talking about the stuff that is important, that drives me. Or when I hear you talking about what crew meant for you and what it means when crew goes away, and someone's got to stop me because I'm having the Lungani loudspeaker, thing here.
Stop.
Stop. But yeah, it's interesting. Bostick, you mentioned something about saving a fan from committing suicide. And take us through that moment, if you can. What happened, and I know this might be a bit emotional for you. What happened? What did you say? What did the fan?
These guys froze up. The only one I could see is people.
Okay.
Yeah, they froze up. But I don't know if we're still alive. Everything's kind of frozen.
I think we're back on.
Back on. There we go. Yeah, there we go. All right. Basically, I had a fan who had been a fan for a long time. Was going through some problems at home, dealing with his parents, dealing with a dad on drugs, dealing with family members on drugs. It was kind of reminiscent of my own life. So when the person reached out to me for help, I had nothing else to provide to them but help. It wasn't an easy situation. It's not easy to talk about now. Because that person didn't survive. Got to see him one time. But sometimes you can't be there every time.
Yeah.
And one time I wasn't there, cost that person their life. So when people reach out to me with their problems, I listen. Fans, friends, I guess I've had people in my life tell me sometimes I overextend myself, but I don't know any better. I don't know but to be this person, you know. I guess, you know, like I said, the person having certain situations in their life being very reminiscent of my own, it wasn't easy. You know, it was easy for me to help that person, but it wasn't easy when that person was no longer here. Because I said to myself, damn, why did I survive and why didn't that person? Why was I stronger than them? Those are the questions you ask yourself, you know? Those are the questions you ask yourself. Why wasn't I stronger than that person? Or why wasn't that person stronger than me? Why am I stronger than this person? What makes me stronger? You know? So yeah, it's a tough situation for me to talk about because every day I still think about that person.
You know, this is for me one of the incredible things about this particular show, the Global Sunday.
Yeah.
The people out there, you know, every single one of us is an artist. We're international. We performed all over, and these are common problems for us.
Yeah.
But we also have kids. I remember in one interview, it was Madonna, and I don't know what the show was or anything like that. But at one point, Madonna said, like, you know, well, my kids, they don't see me as Madonna. They just want dinner on time. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care. But there's also this thing when you have a family member or somebody very close to you who is sitting in the audience watching you perform, they feel so much more because not only are they moved by the performance, but they know what you've been through. They know how hard you worked. They know that, like, I don't know, like you were ready to go on stage and you found out you had one blue sock and one brown sock on, and the producer, you know what I mean? Like, whatever it is, the crap that happens right as you're walking on the stage all the time. And I think that the whole point, and people, you saying about talking about that kid, the grandchildren of that person, when we are able to have that direct communication with, I would say, for me, I don't look at it as fans. I look at it as almost like clients. Like, those are the people out there. That's what I'm doing my thing for. It's for them. It's so they can leave the theater and go into their lives with maybe a little more spring in their step or a little more hope or determination, or they're like, you know what, I'm going to tell the truth to that guy that I've been faking to. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. When they can have all of that and know you to some degree, what you go through, where you're, you know, you said it's similar to your own life. You know, it's really, really makes it special. And so when you have that direct to consumer format, and you're back in reality and not in some marketing person describing the reality they want you to be to some people, then it's not just that they're fans. They're not these disconnected people out there. They're people. They're our fellow humans. And our work is able to really do what it's supposed to do. And, you know, and I've said it over and over again, what the arts are there for is to guide society forward into the unknown, up against the obstacle, around the chasm that you might fall into if you can. And no, you can't save everybody, and everybody has that destiny, and it just hurts you so much. But it's beautiful to see that, and I hope that our viewers out there understand that every single artist, no matter how they make you feel or what your view of their life is, they're a real person.
We people. We go through people's stuff every day.
That's right.
Every day we go through people's stuff. You know, I've had good friends of mine, you know, that are no longer here with us, that, you know, had achieved that, you could say, superstardom in the rap business. You know, they were regular people, man. Regular people. You know, regular people. So I was just saying to somebody the other day, was like, yo, I wonder how Eminem lives his life, because he's a regular person, but he can't go outside. He can't go outside. Like, he goes outside, he's probably one of the most recognizable people in the world. Between him, a guy like Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg can't go outside by himself and just walk down the street. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like when it comes to that, like, I think that's where, to me, like, stardom, you know, and fame, it becomes too much for me, you know, and I don't want it. There was one time, and I describe a situation. I laugh about it now, but I'll describe a situation. I was sitting on a New York City subway train with my wife. We were riding the train, and there were three young kids sitting across or whatever, and they kept staring and staring and staring and staring and staring. And I was ready to wild out on all three of them. I was ready to be like, yo, what's your problem? Like, why you keep staring at me? Come to find out, they were fans of my music. They just didn't know how to approach. You know, and that still freaks me out. So, you know, with people like Eminem, who he's a real person, he's a regular person. He just has the skill to rap. He can't go outside. I don't know if I ever want that level of fame or celebrity. I'd rather be the little guy that I am now, putting the music out the way I put it out now, direct to consumer, to my peoples, and just stay in touch with the peoples that love me. Because when you become on that level of stardom, that level of celebrity, man, your life changes. You become depressed and miserable. For real, because you can't go nowhere. Where you going? You can't go to McDonald's. I want to go to McDonald's with my son. Can't go to McDonald's, you know? When you're that level of celebrity, no. Sorry.
It's yeah, it's really interesting that you're talking about this, because every
Yeah,
now and then it come across my mind. You know, I always think about these people, because I mean, when I think about something, I really put my thoughts into it. And there was a time where, I don't know if it was the Global Sunday or it was the articulation, where we talked about the artist and the life that they live, where people, they think they are puppets. You know, I've seen, you know, people on social media, when, you know, a famous artist is posting something on social media, they just, you know, post these crazy comments, you know, and I commented one day, you know, I said, you know, do you know that the person that you are talking to is a human being just like you? You know, you can't just get up in the morning and try to make yourself feel bad by mocking another
Yeah,
person.
they don't see rappers, singers, you know, none of that as being regular people. We are who they say we are. We are this figure that's on TV, that's, you know, put on a pedestal, that's highly publicized and all that. We regular people, man. We eat regular food, you know. Like, I watched something the other day and it made me laugh. I don't know if you ever seen it, but the movie Get On Up. It's the movie about James Brown. And there was a journalist, she went to ask James, like, what food do you eat? And he got up from the interview and walked away and told Bobby Bird, Mr. Bird, you tell her what we eat. And I understood it. At first, I was like, why he just get up like that? Why didn't he just answer the question? But then I sat back and thought about it. I said, I probably would have answered it the same way. I would have done the same thing. Because we're regular people. We're regular people. We do regular things. I still go to Coney Island. You know, I still get on the subway. I don't own a car. You know, like, I'm a regular person. You know, people see I got all these projects out. I'm a regular person. I'm a regular person. I don't even own a car. And that's by choice, though. That's my choice. I do not want a car. Not in this city.
Do you think, I know a lot of people who are wealthy and they decide to leave, you know, there is a term for it, but you know, they wear very cheap clothes where you wouldn't even tell that they're rich people. They drive like normal cars because they're running away from that. And I know a person who decided to donate his entire money because he was tired of being rich. He was tired of being treated in a different way. So do you think that when a person get into a certain level of fame, should be, you know, for instance, there are public hospitals, there are private hospitals, there are, you know, everything, including transportation, including schools, do you think that as a community or as people or as the government, we should create a room for people who get into a certain level of being famous, that
Nah,
they don't have to walk with people like me, where I would just
no,
run to them and say, "Hey,
no,
how are you?"
because
and give them a hug when they're sick.
because you take the normality away from them when you do that. Some of these people, look, for instance, I use her as an example. Cardi B. Cardi B is probably one of the most successful, well, she is one of the most successful female recording artists in the world. She still goes back to the projects in the Bronx, dude, and hangs out in the projects because that's her sense of normality. Once you take that away from her, you tarnish everything about what she's done. You can't take that normality away from a person. You take that away from them, they're no longer human. Now they're just a celebrity in a box. You might as well just make them like a Barbie doll. You know what I mean? Because you've taken all sort of normality away from them. I know that there's times that, Eminem wants to go to the mall without security, just walk around the mall, go buy a pair of sneakers, and he can't do that. But if you take the option away from him to do that, you're driving him to a state of where he's not normal now. He's a plastic being. You can't isolate anyone. That was the big problem to me also, not to stray away, but for prison, isolation, it's no, you can't isolate people. Can't isolate people.
And how do we protect them? How do we protect these people? Because it really concerns me. I've seen a lot
Honestly,
of people who would jump into a live and express themselves and say, I'm tired of this,
all right,
and
here's one thing I'm gonna say. And I've said this tons of times in the past, and I'm gonna say it now on the Global Sunday Show. Social media is not reality. What you see on social media and what you see on the internet is not real. It's not reality. A lot of the stuff you see with these artists is fabricated shit. It's fabricated, excuse my language, but it's fabricated for the fans, for more followers, for more views and more likes. And somebody said it the other day, I think it was Steve Stout, he said this is an era where it's not about the music, it's about how many likes you can get. The more likes you can get, and the more followers you can get, the more celebrity you have. It's not reality. You don't know these people. These people don't know you. They go off of what they perceive you to be or what they see on social media, which is not real. So how do we protect these artists? That's a hard one on protecting them because social media, period. I don't know how you protect someone from social media when you got the option of free commenting.
right.
And now they're starting to pull back on that. Now they have, certain things. If you say certain things,
Right.
your comment is deleted,
Community
your
police,
post is removed, your, page is taken away, or you're put on suspension and you can't comment, you can't do this, you can't like, you can't do that. That's a certain form of protection to the artist. I'm gonna quote something that an artist, Nori from Drink Champ said. There's a thing called the block button on social media. If someone is saying something you don't like, block them. That's it. Don't let them invade your peaceful space. You know how many times I've gotten hateful comments in my DMs, commented on my actual post, all kind of stuff. They've actually sent posts to other people about me. And you know what I do? I block them. I don't care. You're not going to mess up my normality, my sense of normality, and you're not going to mess up my peace of mind. That's what you're not going to do. Social media, there's a thing called block. Block the person. And that's even for the biggest celebrities in the world. You know how many of them I know have blocked individuals? Because this person went on a rant on their page or went in their inbox and says something really crazy, you block them. Don't let that person, take your peace away from you. That's how we protect them.
What you're talking about, it's like a kind of racism. People assume if you're a celebrity, all of this stuff is true of you. And the solution to racism is to get to know people. Yep. There's a really good YouTube interview. It's Jack Gleason, who's the very, very young. He's 21 at the time. He was the actor that played King Joffrey on the Game of Thrones. And he's at the Oxford Union. And the Oxford Union is at Oxford University in England. And people like Winston Churchill and Einstein have all been interviewed. What Jack Gleason does, he gets on there and he says, hey, I'm a kid. I'm a kid that's an actor that was in a show, and the show got popular. And then he tells what happened. And I think that and letting people know what that is like is going to be something that can help protect them, so people understand. Nicki Minaj was on an interview one time, and there was this guy who was doing the interview that he said some totally made up crap about her, and she just went off on him. And she said, what would you think if I said on my social media with my millions of followers that you did such and such? And she said something that was gross but silly, but obviously not true. And she said, you don't know these people. You say this stuff about celebrities, they are real people, and then they get depressed. They maybe turn to drugs and drinking. They do something reckless. They, so I think that part of the answer is that if you let it be known. And so that Oxford Union talk that Jack Gleason did, I think is very instructive to you people out there in the world who are watching this and learning about it. Well, go and watch that. You look up, I think it was called Nicki Minaj Big Meltdown or something like that. Listen to what she's saying. She's saying it in a colorful, bigger than life way, like she does everything, but that's who she is. But she's telling the truth. And
she's probably one of the most attacked artists.
Yeah.
Because of some of the stuff that is said about her, some of the things that are perceived about her, some of the things that have actually come out of her own mouth. But yeah, man, it still doesn't give anyone the right to go and lie on a person and say something that ain't true. It's just not cool. Don't lie on nobody. It's just not cool.
People, do you want to add something, and then maybe we take a break, play a video, we come back and talk about projects that you are working on right now.
Sure.
And then we'll try to wrap it up. I still have a few questions for you, and I know Mr. Laden and people has questions for you. But people, do you want to say something?
So I remember the last time we had a time restraint. William, I just want to make sure that you don't have. I remember last time you had to go through all New York and get somewhere else. That we don't keep you here too long.
Oh, no, I'm good today. I'm good. I cleared my whole schedule for this one.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, I cleared my schedule for this.
We still would want to have some news from Ken, is that going to come now, Lungani, the news section? Is that what we're going to do now? Just keep me.
In fact, since we have enough time today, we can play the video, and then we talk a little bit. Then we can have news. While we're getting Mr. Laden ready for the news, we can play a video, and then we come back. Is that okay?
Well,
sounds great.
Absolutely. So, if you're watching, this is the video from Dancing for the Stars. After this video, we're gonna talk some more with Bostick, and then we're gonna have the news. So it will be up to date. And then, if you have comments and questions, please just drop them below. This has been a very emotional conversation, very fruitful, and very meaningful as well. So, enjoy this video. When we come back, we'll talk some more.
Ladder going in.
Thank you, doctor.
All right, for Frenchie. You again going in. All right, Adam, floral. All the way up. Go LAO, please. Vegan, what's the baseline ACT?
132.
Hip and goes.
22,000.
Got it. All right, back to flush. All right, guys. Thanks for the time out. Lila going in.
Thank you.
All right. Alert. It's over. Catheters are coming out. Everything went well. Next step. Good job. Good job, team. Good.
Continue reading. Hey, Dr. Tony, you have a phone call here.
Okay. Hello? Dr. Tuck speaking? What? Dancing for the Stars? Okay. Who's my partner? Got it. Thank you. Hey guys. That was strange. I just got nominated for Dancing for the Stars.
Wow. Wow.
Did I hear you say Dancing for the Stars? Yes. And what is that?
It's a dance competition that you're going to be raising a lot of money for the Boys and Girls Club. You have so much fun.
When do I have time?
We'll help you make time.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. It doesn't even make any sense. How am I going to do this? Well, I guess I'm going to make it work. Longani Bohala. Who are you?
I'm Lungani Kuala from South Africa,
What are you doing here?
creating the future, a fusion of African, hip-hop, and ballet with Margaret Fontaine Academy.
How do you move so beautifully like that?
It's easy. You wanna try it?
I don't know how to dance.
Hey, I'll show you. Come with me. Yep, welcome back to the Global Sunday Show. That was the video from our performance, Dancing for the Stars, which was yesterday and Friday as well. So if you were watching live, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But we're going to go back to the panel and continue with our conversation. Remember, today we have William Bostick, all the way from New York, an amazing artist. I'm not going to call him a rapper or musician now. I'm just going to call him an artist because today I learned, you know, a lot about him, and I realized that he's just an artistic person. It's unfair for me to call him a rapper or a producer. So yeah, people, are you back from taking a break? Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, I'm here.
So, people, you were saying something before we went on the break. I know you talked about the news, but before we go to the news, did you want to say something?
Well, thanks for giving me the chance to take a nap. Welcome back, everybody. This is Germany. We're talking about Angela Merkel, and she was famous for being able to sleep anywhere at any time and take a power nap and then just, be fresh again for another 14 hours. I don't think that I could do that. I admire, everybody in any kind of position. And no matter what they do, people have good reasons to do what they do. William, we talked about, and Ken, thank you, saying clients rather than fans. And it made me remember this album that I listened to a lot. It's Marvin Gaye Live.
Oh,
um,
yeah.
at the Palladium.
At the
And
London Palladium.
so this is a 1976 Motown recording. And I mean, I would love to talk more about Ken Ludden and Pamela Anderson because I've been a big fan of Pamela Anderson in my teenage years, especially. But I don't want to get the AdWords irritation coming up, and then the whole thing sorted into another section.
Bleep, bleep.
He talks like in this recording, which is beautiful. He treats the public in a way that is just amazing. There is such an appreciation, and although I know that that's part of show business, as far as I have understood it, there's also something in it which is very true. Like in Baywatch, there's also something which is always kind of educating that you need to take care of the people who have difficulties, and they take care of the people, of the homeless. They always have these topics that they manage to put in, and then you see women running on this beach in their bikinis and all of those things. So you just reminded me of that record and listening to it. I want to talk with you about some stuff, or I hope everybody. I mean, I now learned that you're going to say big shout out, although I still haven't really understood what it means. I see Longani do it, and I see you do it, and I think, cool. But until I have figured out what it actually means, I mean, I've not tried to imitate that. But you said, I'm not rapping. And I thought, are you sad? Don't you miss it? I mean, but it's a bit about who you're working with. I've been producing work. I know it's beautiful to work with people, but I mean, do you miss it? And then after, yeah.
Sometimes. Sometimes I want to sit down and write, and then my brain is just off. I guess, like I said, earlier, it has to be the production. The production has to tell me what to write. If the music is not driving me to write, then I don't write. I'm kind of, even as much as this is going to sound crazy, I'm kind of reliving my rap career through some of these other artists that I'm working with. Like I say, I try to find a little bit of myself in all of them because it makes it easier, because I know what I would want to do creatively. So if I could find a little bit of me in them, then it makes it easier for me to produce and give them a soundscape for them to rap to. But yeah, I miss it sometimes. I miss sitting down and writing and being able to write, and, or just sitting with a collective of beats and just, going through them and running through them. And yeah, there's times I miss it, but when you fill your plate with a lot of other things, sometimes there is no room for missing it, and I tend to do that. Some people say I tend to take on too many projects at one time, but that's sort of how I stay sane, by working. during the pandemic, all I did was work, and put out music, and just tried to do, and tried so many different things. During feeling goes away because I got something else to do. I got, you know, an album to produce, or it's crunch time to get a mix and master done because, you know, we got an album we ready to push out, you know. The radio show keeps me pretty busy now. Even though it's 1 day a week. Getting the music together for the show. I play really underground hip hop, stuff that you won't find being played on top 40 radio or on popular radio, period. With a kid named Dome Piece from the Lower East Side. Amazing artist. We're putting something together which is super special. We still don't have a title, but super special project. I think we have 7 records already prepared. Um, and I've been secretly working on a compilation with a bunch of different artists, taking a song from this artist, a song from this artist that I've produced, you know, and putting it all on one collective project. Um, I'm also working on a new Queens anthem for the borough of Queens. Right now, presently, I have 16 rappers on the song. I'm looking to get 25, and then we're gonna get the record together and put it out. Excuse me. I released the project last year, which was my last album, Lord Supreme God and Master. Um, I released 2 singles off of that. One was featuring Aguilar, the other was just me by myself. Yeah, and you know, just still searching and seeking out new talent, you know, to work with. You know, it's always something new. I'm also venturing off and doing more electronic dance music. You know, I come from that background of doing, you know, the house music and stuff like that. So I'm venturing more into that again. Um, it's big money in that, you know, festivals and stuff like that. But I also have a love for just house music, you know, because of DJing, you know. So I've been venturing into that a lot. I got an I'm a Piano single out now, you know. Lugani, I don't know if you hip to I'm a Piano, but I have a single out now. It's called Saxy Groove. I plan to put another one out maybe within the next month or so, and I have a house record I'm putting out within the next month or so. So yeah, just trying to stay busy and stay consistent, and keep money coming in. You know, because at the end of the day, that's the ultimate goal. We love doing what we do, but we also want to see some sort of profit off of what we do. We don't do it, you know, for free.
I want to jump in here and say something.
Sure.
All you kids out there, all you young artists and young musicians, listen to what you know, Mr. Bostick says. I'm just making you the elder here for just a moment, then you go back to all your baseball cap and all that stuff. But
No doubt.
learn how to play an instrument.
Yeah. For sure.
Learn how to do it. Because there's a long time that everything got digital, but what you don't understand is that all those digital sounds, those digitized sounds, those were played by musicians in symphonies.
Yep.
People who worked their whole lives. This new album, Saxy, what is it?
Saxy Groove. It's a
Saxy Groove
record. Yeah.
I hear that, and I'm like, oh, great, a saxophone. Finally, again, one of my true loves in life is saxophone. But also that he used live musicians. And, what I was talking about with The Beat Goes On and the quintet of brass. Learn how to play an instrument. It gives you three things. It gives you a way to talk out loud, scream if you need to, every mood that you have, without pissing anybody off.
Exactly.
It also makes you be able to connect to anyone in the world who can hear what you're doing. You are connected. And also it will lead you to employment. And the kind of employment that you do it, but then it keeps going and going and going, and there's such satisfaction about that. So you kids out there, you young musicians, learn.
Yeah.
If it's your voice,
and
if it's the drums, go for it.
For you young producers and beat makers, if you don't know how to play an instrument, learn how to read music or get with a band and get really good and tight with the band so you can recreate samples. You can replay samples and change chord progressions and make it your own. There was a conversation recently I seen Alicia Keys had where she had sampled a Prince record, or the chord progressions were very similar to what Prince had done, and she went to him out of respect. And he told her, look, you don't own the master, so no, you're not using my stuff. But because she was a musician, she was able to go back into the studio with the band and change those chord progressions, change certain notes to where it's no longer Prince's music. And she was able to put it out. So for you young beat makers and producers, I suggest you do that. Get with a band. For me, my band is, shout out to Christian Hoffman, shout out to James Mason, shout out to Buddy Riger. Those are my guys who are my go-to musicians. When I need organs or I need keys played, I'll holler at Buddy. When I need bass lines or drums, I'm hollering at James. When I need, real nice guitar riffs played on some of my stuff, I'm going to holler at Christian. These are guys that have taken my production from 75 to 100, just with the live instrumentation that's added. We're able to take something that it was started as a sample, and now it's an original composition with some hip hop drums behind it, and we don't have to clear no sample now. I don't have to pay anyone else but the musicians who contributed to this project.
Another thing is, if you go on YouTube and look up how to write a song, and then look for the names look for the songwriters you've heard of. Listen to what they say about writing songs. They go and take samples and change things from Mendelssohn and Beethoven and Mahler and Chopin. And these are pop musicians, and it's just what like Alicia did with the music from Prince. Yeah, be inspired and then make it your own.
Yeah,
your
exactly.
voice is so important. Every single voice is needed in this world.
I've done that with a lot of samples. I've taken things and changed it and bent it so much that you wouldn't know where it came from, because I made it my own. Yeah, I've done it with tons of James Brown music,
Speaking of James Brown and what food he eats, James Brown used to go to this place in San Francisco called Soul Kitchen where I went, and James Brown and I used to sit and eat meals together all the time. So what James Brown eats is fried chicken, black-eyed peas, chitlins,
Hell yeah. All Southern
cornbread.
food.
But what he doesn't eat is bullshit. You do
Yeah,
not feed
hell
that man
yeah.
bullshit.
Hell yeah. That's one individual I wish I met in life, man.
He
James Brown.
was so little and so big.
I could tell just by the footage of his interviews, of just him talking, his performances. That was a special man.
Oh,
He
he
was
was
special.
amazing.
He was special. He
Yeah.
was special. You know, you can't argue with God's ears. God made them ears. You can't argue with God's ears.
Right.
That to me was the most famous thing he ever told one of his musicians. You know?
Um,
Yeah.
Bostick, as we continue with this conversation, I'm finding a lot of things that I would really like to know about you,
Okay.
especially since you this kind of a person who's an inspiration to the community, to the young people, to everyone that listens to your music. Um, I I want to talk about family a little bit.
Okay.
You have two kids, am I right?
I have four.
Four.
Yeah, I got four. I got two girls and two boys. My oldest child is 25. My middle child, the second oldest, 16. Then I have my 9-year-old and my 6-year-old who's in the room.
Wait. You got a 25-year-old, so you had a baby when you were two?
No. What do you mean two? Ooh, I wish I was that young. But yeah, I got four. Yeah.
And
Four children.
and okay, so I don't know if we talked about this before on our previous interview, but how do you have in your family? Do you have anyone who's into music or production or you
Well,
know?
my dad was a musician. My dad was a Latin musician who recorded over 50 albums in his career. My dad recorded with everybody from Miles Davis to Tito Puente to Fania All Stars. He did jazz. He did so much stuff. So it kind of came from him, the whole music thing. But all my brothers were DJs. My uncles were DJs. Um, so music was just always in the house. Now as far as my kids, eh,
No.
I'm I don't know, maybe my little one, maybe the youngest, he could sing, maybe he's gonna be a DJ and a producer. I don't know. He has a little bit of interest in it, but he's 6 going on 7, so I don't know. My oldest son has no interest in music. He's gonna change the world. He's into astronomy and geography. He actually goes to a school that's like sponsored by NASA um, in Pittsburgh. And my daughters, no, neither one of them. One is a model, and the other is a gamer, and she likes anime. So music, nah, I don't know if they're gonna follow my footsteps there. I'm hoping that maybe when one of them, sees the light, you know, they take after me. But I'm thinking maybe my youngest son will.
So do you think so sorry if any of you wanted to jump in, people, and Mr. Lad, but do you think that growing up, in front of music and DJs and like you explained with your uncles and your father, do you think that played a role in making you decide what path you want to take in your life? Do you think that if you didn't grow up in front of all these people, you would have chosen music and production?
No, I definitely wouldn't have. Not in the environment I grew up in. Because there was a moment in my life that we didn't talk about in the last interview. There was a moment in my life where music wasn't a part of it. I did 14 years in federal and state prison. So for 14 years of my life, there was no music because I chose a different path, being from where I grew up. There was, yeah, I know you probably heard this in rap songs a lot. People say, oh, there was only two ways out of the hood, either selling drugs or playing sports. I wasn't good at sports. I was good at baseball until I got injured. And then after that, all I knew was the music that wasn't making us any money at the moment or the streets. So I chose the streets. I got caught up in something. I did my time. I paid my debt to society. I came home and found out, due to somebody telling me while I was incarcerated, find something you love to do and then convince the world to pay you for it. That stuck with me for the rest of my life. I said, well, I love music and I'm going to convince the world to pay me for it. And it's not a trick. This is not, magic. Poof, I convinced you now. No, it's because this is what I am passionate about. I know I can get people to pay me for what I do because I'm good at what I do. You know what I mean? So I found something I love and people pay me for it. So, yeah. But if it wasn't, no, I to get back to what you asked me is, I probably wouldn't have chosen music if it wasn't in my face all the time. I probably would have chosen the street life and continued to choose the street life. Yeah.
I wanted you mentioned Tito Puente. My grandfather did Arthur Murray dance lessons, and he had all these albums, and I loved the music. Well, I didn't love the music. I loved the rhythms, and I would listen and listen. I read on the album covers Tito Puente, Tito Puente, Tito.
Yeah.
Everywhere was this Tito Puente, and then I heard that he was going to be on television, and he was on the Johnny Carson show. And he got on and he had this set of like conga drums, but
timbales.
Like, say what?
Timbales.
Timbales. And they were bright purple, Lungani's favorite color. And he blew my mind. And then I had a period of my time that I was working with a lot of orchestras, and I was working with Pablo Casals, who was a cellist who became a conductor. And I was in a planning session, and they were going to be doing this series of concerts with the National Symphony, and they wanted to get some Latin stuff, and I said, what about Tito Puente? like I was his agent, and they were like, that's brilliant. And so they brought him. So I got to meet that guy. He was unbelievable. That is a genius of all geniuses of all time.
Yeah, a lot of energy, that man.
Oh my God. And he gave me every bit of rhythm in my dance career in ballet came directly from him, because his music taught me how it fits together. And you're talking about those filler beats. Man, you don't even want to get to the beat if Tito is playing, because you just want to be in that filler that he's doing. It's a whole world. It's a universe.
Yeah. Yeah, he was an amazing musician. Yeah, so my father got to work with him. He got to work with Miles Davis. But yeah, these are amazing people.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about some of my father's achievements until way after he passed. I was pretty young when my dad died. I was 15. I understood the concept of death and everything. I wasn't, but I didn't understand. I didn't know about his achievements. I hadn't paid that much attention to what he was doing musically in his career. It wasn't until maybe 10, 15 years after my dad died, I was having a conversation with one of my older brothers, and he was telling me, hey, you didn't know that dad played on this and played with Miles Davis and played on this record in 1964. And I was like, what? No way. Like, I had no clue. And yeah, it wasn't. If it wasn't for my brother, I probably wouldn't have known. But my brother went and got all these records. Like, he found all the vinyl. He spent like tons of money to purchase all these records. And my brother has my dad's like whole catalog on vinyl. Yeah, I actually have one record that I found. Was weird how I found it. Crazy story. There's a guy in my neighborhood who buys like empty storage, or he buys storage units, that people leave behind. It's like storage wars. But he bought somebody's storage unit, and there was a bunch of vinyl records in the storage unit. And he posts up out in the street, and he puts the stuff out, and it's like a little yard sale. I happened to go over there. I seen the 2 crates of records, and I'm like, well, let me look, see what he has. Go through the record, and the second record I grab in the crate is my dad's album. Yeah, I show the guy, and I'm like, look, I show him a picture of me and my dad together. I'm like, that's my dad on the record. He's like, yeah, all right, cool, give me $1. So I got the record for $1. Wow. Pristine condition. So now, anytime I see he has records out, I'm going through them to see if maybe by some chance there's another record of my dad's in there, and I'm always in record stores trying to find my dad's music, but it was so rare. Some of these recordings were very rare, some of these recordings weren't printed, like mass printing. Some of these recordings, maybe there were 1,000 records printed, and back then that was like a little bit, that was nothing. Some of these records, they were being printed 250, 300,000 copies, so it was just very hard to find. I know my brother spent a lot of money. I know one record, I think he paid like 11 grand to get the one album because the person just knew the value and just didn't want to let it go. And he's trying to tell the person, like, this is my dad, man, give me a deal. But yeah, man, so, yeah, my dad was the start to all of it. For me and my brother. Shout out to my brother Philip, who has a Latin band. He basically followed in my father's footsteps. He does the same thing. He plays percussion like my dad. He has a band. He actually named his band after my dad's old band. So, he's definitely paying tribute and homage to him, But yeah, definitely started with my dad, the music. Definitely started with him. And if it wasn't in my face, I probably wouldn't have done it. But it was in my face all the time. Especially because of my uncles. My uncles were DJs. My uncle Eddie was a DJ, and I just liked the fact of taking 2 records and mixing them together, and making it your own mix and your own sound. I wasn't very good in the beginning. They dubbed me DJ Beats because I had no timing. I didn't know beat matcher. So when I would mix to be all off beat and everything, and then if it wasn't for my cousin Joey, he taught me how to beat match, and then from there it was off to the races. I DJ'd in clubs when I was young, because just what we did back then. We DJ'd in clubs, we DJ parties, events, and then the bad side of my life came, and then that took a big chunk out, and then I came home, and I've been home doing positive things ever since. I told myself in 2008, when I maxed out on my final day of parole, I told myself, I ain't doing this no more. This is not for me. I did 14 years. I lost 14 summers, 14 winters. I said, I can't do this no more. What type of an example am I leading for my kids if I keep doing this? Now, mind you, one of my children was basically conceived in prison. Not through a trailer visit either. But yeah, so it wasn't peaches and cream, and I didn't want to, continue to put that in their face, and then I had my son, my oldest son, and that definitely changed everything. That I was like, nah, I'm not doing none of that again. None of the stuff that was being done in the past was being done ever again. And music became the main focus. Like I said, the guy in prison told me, he said, yo, find something you love to do and convince people to pay you for it. And like I said, it stuck. I was like, yeah, you know what? I like that concept. So I came home, I started to do the music again, and it was easy for me to get payment because back then artists, would pay for beats. They would pay for production for their album, It was back then it was 5,000 was the minimum. Now we're lucky if we get $50 for a beat, So the hustle has gotten more intense with the music. You got to find different niches to make the money, legally. within the music. But sometimes it's fun, sometimes it ain't. You know, on the days it's fun, is the good days. On the days it ain't fun, them the bad days. I also maintain a recording studio um, that it doesn't do well. But I maintain it because at times it is a peace of mind for me to be able to go somewhere and have a space to go create. You know, and not bother anyone and be out of everyone's way. You know, um, I guess you could call it a AKA man cave. It's the place where I could go and create and be as creative as I want to be. Um, I wish it did better business wise, but nowadays with the world's technology, um, it's hard to get people to pay you for a service that they feel like they could do themselves at home. You know,
Yep.
a MacBook comes with a program that allows a person to record themselves at home at high quality. You know, so why do you need me? Well, I could tell you why you need me. Me and you don't have the same ears, and I'm saying this because I know some of my viewers are gonna watch this later, and some of my fans and all that. This is why you need me, and this is why you need us as engineers, as producers, as DJs. Um, you're an artist. Your assignment is to write to the beat. Um, yeah, you may have the skill trait and the skill set to record yourself, but do you know frequencies and hertz to mix and master your own music to where you can get it to where it's radio ready? That's where the real skill comes in. It ain't just something you learned yesterday and said, all right, cool. Well, I know how to record myself. And I know that if I put this EQ on it with this preset, it's going to sound good. But when you turn that volume all the way up in the club, or a person turns that volume all the way up in their vehicle, it sounds like crap. That's why you need me, because I'm the one that knows how to make it not sound like crap. Um, I'm the one that knows how to take the certain pockets of air that's in between your breaths and all that, and really get that to sound cohesive with what you're doing. You know, yeah, you know how to record a wave file, and then you're gonna dump that wave file with a preset, and then you're gonna go online and you're gonna upload it to say SoundCloud or Reverb Nation, or even upload it to DistroKid. And when your fan base is telling you, yo, the sound quality is horrible, then you're gonna know why you need guys like William Bostick, guys like Eddie Sancho, And I say this because there's a lot of young artists nowadays that they record their music, they don't even mix or master the stuff, and they put it out. And I'm like, wow, it's become quantity over quality. And I'm like, no, it's quality over quantity. If the music doesn't sound good and it's not clean, clear, I don't want to hear it. Look, I got a radio show on Sundays from 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. I get music submitted to me throughout the week. And I would have to say about 60% of the music I can't play because of the sound quality in the music. These artists are recording at home. They don't know plugins. They don't know, how to EQ or compress their vocal. They don't know, reverb. They just don't know. And it sounds horrible, so I can't play it. It doesn't come across the airwaves correctly. So that's why you need guys like William Bostick. And we're not going nowhere. We're here to stay. But yeah, it is hard to maintain a recording studio because of technology nowadays.
Yeah, when I stopped doing my stage performance, it was because the rigors. I was touring the world all the time, and it's all that travel and living out of a suitcase and always putting on costume, makeup, character, singing. It was exhausting. But when I stopped, there were 3 albums in the hopper. You know what I mean? 3 shows that were going to tour that I just was like, no more. And I've been thinking lately, you know, those ought to get recorded. I don't need to do the show. So
Yeah.
I'm going to have you be my producer for that if I decide to do that, because with
Sure.
what you just said, I know it's the right thing. And that's, you know, I've always relied on those technicians. You know, a shout out to Ralph Hoffman, huge. He was a stage manager that knew how to EQ sound. He knew how to adjust lighting. He knew how to fix costumes. He knew anything that happened. If he was a stage manager, I could just go full out into the performance, not have to worry about anything because I knew it would be. Another one was Richie Shoup. You know, there are these people that are the producers and the people backstage that are just absolutely phenomenal, and it sounds like you're in that league. I am so glad to hear you say this. This is really interesting, having a conversation like this. It isn't a bunch of questions already told to us. It's awesome.
Yeah, I like this.
Maybe let's take a break. People, did you want to comment?
Well, same here. William Bostick for producer.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna take a quick short break, find out what's going on all around the world, and then we come back. We talk a little, then we wrap it up. Yep, Mr. Ladin, you ready for the news?
All right. Welcome to the Global Sunday News. Today is September 11th, 2022. For Global Sunday News, I'm Kenneth Ludden. In the Ukraine, there was something inevitable. The spirit of the Ukrainian people, the dilapidation of the Russian army, the lack of resources, the fact that in the very first assault, the Russian tanks and trucks were stuck in the road, undrivable, because they didn't have new tires on the trucks, and the tires were so old that they rotted. The soldiers running from their vehicles. It was inevitable that the Russians would not prevail in the Ukraine. And just in the last 3 days, the Ukraine has done a blitzkrieg, which means like a lightning war attack in the northeastern part of the Ukraine, and they have broken through the Russian lines, driven the Russians back. Soldiers are abandoning their equipment and fleeing on foot. It was inevitable. However, there are still millions and millions of people in the Ukraine who are going to go into this winter without fuel. There are people in Latvia and Lithuania and Estonia who will not have fuel to heat their homes this winter. There are so many people without food. There are, I believe that it was 1.3 million children who have been displaced. Most of them have lost both of their parents. Even though it is inevitable that the Ukrainian culture, the Ukrainian spirit will prevail, that does not mean that even if the war is over soon, it's over anytime soon. There are generations of Ukrainians, beautiful, incredible, talented people. Look up any resource you can to help the Ukraine. They don't only need money. They need things. They need blankets. They need socks. They need knitted hats. The winter is coming. The other thing that is going on in the Ukraine and in the whole world is this nationalist, totalitarian, authoritarian government push is on the move, and it must be stopped. I implore all of you to go and find what you can do and do it with joy. Help your fellow brothers and sisters survived this war. Another thing that was inevitable that happened on Thursday. The 96-year-old monarch of England, Queen Elizabeth II, died. She died peacefully. She died without a long illness before her death. The loss of Queen Elizabeth is a very palpable loss. She was queen since 1952. I was born in 1952, and I've had deep ties with England my entire life. I lived in London for 6 years, and I performed there and studied there for decades. Queen Elizabeth was also the queen that reigned over a period in the world that was inevitable. It was the breaking down of the structures that were put into motion by the colonialist times that preceded her reign. During the course of her reign, during those 70 years, the British Empire was gradually dismantled. There were attempts to right the wrongs of colonization. There are some wrongs that can never be righted. There should be no African blood from any nation of the Caribbean. And yet, because of the slave trade and the sugar business in the Caribbean that the British monarchy of the time really enforced, when you think about Caribbeans, you think about people that are mixed, and many of them have African blood. There are many cultures around the world who were in the British Empire and no longer are. However, when Queen Elizabeth took the throne, there were only 8 countries in the British Commonwealth. The Commonwealth, it's about sharing, not about domination and control. When she died, there were over 100 nations in the Commonwealth. There is the saying that the sun never sets on the British Empire. We'll just swap the word Commonwealth for empire. I owe a personal debt of gratitude to Her Majesty. When she had her 60th Jubilee, I had worked not directly with her, but in things that she was very, very interested in, focused on, and involved with for decades. In her 60th Jubilee, I wrote a letter congratulating her, and I said, though I am an American, I consider myself a loyal subject. There is an additional nation in the British Commonwealth, and it is the nation of the performing fine arts. The Queen, from the very beginning of her reign, honored fine artists, not just rich people, not just famous people, but she honored fine arts all over the world. As a result, I said in my letter that I am a citizen of the archipelago of the fine arts. An archipelago is an island, a nation made up of islands. That there are fine arts everywhere in the world that have benefited, been viewed as esteemed, been elevated in stature because of her determination to have that quality always in the world. When she was a princess, before her father died, she was a mechanic, a jeep mechanic, a truck mechanic in the army for Great Britain in the Second World War. During that war, there were 2 artists. One was the ballerina, Dame Margot Fontaine, and one was the singer, Vera Lynn. Those 2 women carried Britain through the war. Elizabeth became queen in 1952. She had her coronation in 1953. And in 1956, she awarded the title Dame Commander of the British Empire to those 2 artists. And that was just the beginning. The world will miss someone like Queen Elizabeth. They will miss that nod to quality. They will also miss that example of absolute selfless duty to her citizens and all around the world who might be influenced for the good by a gesture, by a policy, by an appearance. Now, for all of you out there who do not like the monarchy, for all of you out there who have had your ancestors and yourselves be severely impacted by the horrors of colonization, it does not excuse it. But I hope that through the efforts and the example of the late Queen Elizabeth, we can all learn to stand behind quality, and where we have a bit of influence, a bit of authority, if it's being able to be the president of your local neighborhood watch or the person who makes your child's sandwich for lunch, go to quality. Do it well. Do it the best you can. Thank you for listening. This is Kenneth Ludden for the Global Sunday News, and now we will return to our wonderful conversation with William Bostick. Thank you very much.
Hey, what's up? It's your host, Lungane Gwala, aka Chocolate Kid Leo. Join me as I stream live on Global Sunday, streaming live on Facebook from 8:30 p.m. African Central Time, 11:30 a.m. USA Pacific Time. For more information, visit our Facebook page, Diverse Global Studios. We'll see you there. Welcome back to the Global Sunday Show, and thank you so much to Mr. Ludden for the news. Bostick, do you want to introduce the music video that we're going to play right now?
Yeah, if I'm correct, we're playing Mathematics. This is off my album, Righteous Kill for a Third Eye Vision.
Absolutely. And maybe when we come back, we can, chat a little, just a little about the video, just
sure.
to get the background of the video. Okay. All right.
Can I get a little volume in the headphones? It's hard to hear y'all.
Yeah, your microphone is muted. We hear you through another one.
Oh, absolutely. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Sorry about that. So we're going to play this music video, and then we're probably going to talk about it just to get the story behind, the theme of the song and the music video on its own. So watch this video if you're at home. We'll see you when we come back. Global Sunday Show. Cheers.
Some things are seen. We just don't believe in reality. This is all reality.
They fed us some harsh lessons about our adolescence, how they mastered their chemistry sessions to rise from recession. They refuse to fail, seen the scale with bigger options. Got the block to get it poppin', now the feds are not gon' stop it. Four corners, they done locked the Johnny Cochran in they pocket. Weed smelling like some chocolate dope, dealing like Charles Bronson. Shooters clicked up, bunch of sick pups that just don't give a fuck. They only out for bigger bucks. Riding dirty in they truck, they all ready to fucking bucket any motherfucking duck that's really trying to press they luck. I make you famous, son, just by the draw of the gun. You ever dance with the pale moon under the hot sun? I do the mathematics, son, call me the king of calculus. Psychopathic, acrobatic, finally out the attic. Still packing the automatic, Knicks fitted and the ditty bop. Attitude, kind of rude, I drink your milk and eat your food. Cowabunga, do you feeling all the turbulence? The piff got me high as a plane, funeral services. The chemical imbalance got me leaning towards the left side. Pushing off the wall, equilibrium, I'm back ride. You know I don't backslide, you the man I supply. Bread the chef, a whole pie in the kitchen with a pot. Hot off the stove top, right beside the frying pan. Chicken in the guillotine, how you think I feed my fam? This is all about cream, cash rules everything. And all the evil that surrounds me, because I am the king with broken angel wings. So do the mathematics. So do the mathematics. Welcome to New York, better known as the Rotten Apple. Come take this walk with me and get a taste of my reality. Painted vividly, a vision of clarity, which has become a rarity. The rappers with popularity, now they saying the culture dead under siege by a pyramid. FEMA, I ain't hearing it, and damn sure ain't fearing it. Birthed in the last millennium, writer of my own requiem, battled amongst the best of them. Delhi with a pad and pen. I was one of Jesus' sins, but I was always taught to win. Verbal fly like the wind, combination heroin. I just found with fear from chaos, a beautiful combination with a mind so complex. It's like I'm stuck in the matrix, surrounded by bigger dreams and even bigger goals. And I ain't gonna stop till a nigga got 30 million sold. I ain't getting pigeonholed. I'm covering all angles, distribution, copyright, publishing. Ain't no fucking me. I'm a grown man. I don't sit the pee. I'm a gangster motherfucker. I run these streets. I always handle beef like it's a barbecue. And if I can't get it, shoot my shooters. I train to shoot while I'm handling the booth and living a glamour life and taking care of business every day like it's my last night, my last will and right. Nah, I'm bred to fight. I really live this life. That's why it's nothing to write. Mathematics.
Okay, welcome back everybody. The Global Sunday, and we're having some very good time here. And let's get straight back to William Bostick, our special guest, straight from New York. And I heard you were coming to Prescott, Arizona for the edition 3 of having you on the Global Sunday.
We're gonna make it happen. We're definitely gonna make it happen.
Gonna make it happen. I think a lot of the stuff we do is about having multiple ideas, and you mentioned it before that you're working on many things. We have multiple ideas, and I thought when you were talking about all your projects going on, and I hopefully speak for Lungani and Ken also, that the longer we work in that area, the more ideas we actually have, and the more we do. You know, that doesn't mean all of them happen, all of them are visible, all of them are in terms of accessible to the public, but there's tons of things that we want to do, and we got to get them out there. And let's talk about your radio show. What is it?
Gotcha.
Where can I find it?
It's called Under the Pavement Radio. It's an underground hip hop radio show. I play a lot of artists who don't have record deals. They recording a lot of this stuff out of their bedrooms. You can find it on 97.7 FM Outlaw Radio in Prescott, Ontario, Canada. You could also go to the website. Let me make sure that I give you the correct website.
Is it underthepavement.org? Anarchy on
No. My show is just through their station.
Okay.
And that's the name of my show, Under the Pavement Radio. But you can find it on outlawradiolive.ca every Sunday. For those that are not in Prescott, Ontario, that can't tune in on the dial on their FM radio, you can go to outlawradiolive.ca tonight, 10 p.m. till midnight, and listen to my show. It's every Sunday. Like I said, I play people you wouldn't hear on regular radio. I guess you could say the underdogs, the guys that don't get the shot from the bigger name DJs. I play their stuff. And it's very underground, real underground stuff. Not to say anything bad about Wiz Khalifa, but I doubt you'll hear Wiz Khalifa record on my show. You will hear more like guys like XP the Marksman, Dome Piece, UFO Thief, who else? Imam Thug. You know, these are guys that are pretty underground, man, and I guess they I'm not gonna speak for them, but I guess they like where they stay in the underground and the sound. It's not as far as the fame and the popularity, because some of these guys do have the popularity, the fame, and the notoriety. It's just the sound. It's very underground, very dirty, and that's what I play. That's why it's called Under the Pavement. You know, it's way under the ground. It's under the pavement. You know.
So during the show, do you have people calling in?
Um, well, right now, no.
No.
I
Okay.
don't have people calling in. It's basically just me playing music.
Mm.
Soon enough, I will start doing interviews where I'll have artists come up. You know, this is going on my second month on the station, so I'm still getting, used to the routine of doing the show. Once I get into the full routine of doing the show, then I'll start bringing artists up and interviewing artists. I think I mainly do want to interview producers though, who don't get as much light as the artists. You always see the artist doing the interview. You always see the artist doing the radio press run. What happened to the guy who was the soundscape? He laid the soundscape for you to do this, for you to rap. What happened to him? Why doesn't he get the light to be interviewed? Or the DJs that are on other radio stations and other shows that don't get to do, light put on them, the shine, as we would say, you know, opposed to interviewing artists, because artists is always an interview you could catch with an artist, it's a rapper or a singer, it's the producer that's never in the spotlight, and I think I want to put the producer in the spotlight.
So there's sorry to jump in. I know
it's all good.
I'm being people, Mr. Talk Too Much. So I know a lot of people, they do stuff because it heals them. Some of them, they do stuff because it makes them feel good. They spend time, they have extra time. But what's the purpose of your show? What are you trying to achieve through this show?
I guess for me, I didn't have a person like myself to play the records when I was coming up in the game. So I figured, why not create that person? I am that person. I have the platform. Why not give these artists who don't have the shot? Why not give them a shot? And then let the fans and let the people determine whether they want to hear them again, or let the music determine whether they, are going to be played again, because that's what it's based on for me. It's a certain sound, certain drive. Like I say, it's quality over quantity. So, if your stuff is constantly hitting, then I'm going to constantly play your stuff. But if your stuff, you got one record that's, cool, and then the next record is, it's all right. The next record might not get played, but I do want to provide that platform. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to provide a platform for artists who didn't have a person like myself, There's people like myself, and I'm not going to say I'm the only one. But due to station politics, they still can't play who they want. They got to play what the station wants them to play. I'm thankful to Outlaw Radio because they give me the avenue and the free will to play what I want, how I want it, with no censorship at all. So we're not playing radio edits. We're playing them with the dirty words in them and everything, and it's being broadcasted on, FM radio. I appreciate them for doing that, because not only did they give me the platform, but they gave me the opportunity for these young kids to send me their music and for me to play it. And at the same time, it's like me scouting artists out, somebody sends me something and I feel like they good at it and they did good, I might holler at them and work on something with them, and help them enhance their music and enhance their sound, So it's kind of like scouting artists out on the side. I guess I'm like a baseball scout. Scouting out the next pitcher. I can't hear. There's no sound. I got no sound over here.
Before I ask
There
everyone
you
to
go.
say their last words, how do people submit the music to your show?
They can send it to an email. Play my joint will. Play my joint will at gmail.com. The email is in the link in my bio on my Instagram, which my Instagram is ITZ Willie with a Y and B. It's Willie B. Yeah, they can send the music. Usually, if you go right on my page or on my Facebook page, the email is on there for you to submit the music. I'm constantly, putting the email up for people to send me music. Yeah, that's the easiest way.
Absolutely. People, Mr. Laden, any last words? And you'll be the last one to share your last words, Bostick, before we close the show.
No doubt.
I want to thank Lungani for the Global Sunday Show and for having us here. I want to thank William Bostick. It won't be the last time that we talked.
Definitely not.
Ken Ludden. And then I want to thank everybody out there who joined today. I noted something down William said, and he said, when he makes a beat or something, he already thinks of what's it going to be made, what's it going to be printed on. If it's going to be printed on vinyl, then he's thinking of that in the beginning. And that's a good idea to have in your mind. Although I almost never have that in my mind to know what's it going to be in the end. I believe that it's very helpful to keep in mind what's going to be the end thing. If you're able to do that, give it a shot. And thanks for staying with us today. It's been a pleasure.
Sure, man, anytime. And this is definitely not the last time we're going to do this.
Ken.
Okay, so, wow. Reality rap. This is this direction that Willie B.
Yeah.
I always feel like, I don't know, like I'm an old person wearing young person's clothes when I say stuff like that, but I don't want to be disrespectful and call you Mr. William Bostick. But it is always an inspiration, and you said something right then about, whose music you play and also getting the producers on. Yes. Oh man, I've got to figure out, Lungani will help me figure out how to get to your radio on the website. If you're my age, make friends with young people who are good with their phones. But what I wanted to say is, just like, Bostick didn't have somebody in his life when he was coming up to play his music, and he's being that person for somebody. I was very lucky. When I was 16, Dame Margot Fontaine took me and moved me in with her mother in London, and that gave me an international career that won't quit. I wish it would take a break, but it won't quit. But whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever you know, the longer the mistakes you make go on, the more you're learning, I hope. And Bostick, you spent 14 years in the university learning all those lessons that you can come out and now guide young people.
Yep.
But I just want to say to all you people out there watching, you are someone in everyone you know in their lives. What can you do for them? What didn't you have that you see people need? Be there. Do that. The greatest feeling you'll ever have in life is to help someone who really needs help. There is no greater feeling for a human being. Just like Bostick is the person in those people's lives that he didn't have, that he rose up in spite of not having it, and he's doing that. You're somebody in lots of people's lives. Be that person for them. Every single one of you has treasure inside of you That treasure is not for your opportunity. That treasure is your responsibility.
Mm.
And now we'll go to,
Beautiful.
is Lengend going to talk about last words, or I don't know. You guys fight it out.
Mr. Bostick, go for it. Any last words to our
Yeah,
viewers and your fans?
to everybody who's watching and who's probably going to watch later, I got a couple of projects coming out. Got one with Munch from Queensbridge called The Dirt, which will be out probably in the beginning of October. Um, have that coming. I just dropped a project with KOG. It's called The Intention. Go check that out. That's everywhere. Let me see what else. I got a bunch of stuff, man. I'm kind of lost, but check out the radio show every Sunday from 10 p.m. to 12 midnight. It's Under the Pavement Radio on 97.7 FM, Outlaw Radio, Prescott, Ontario. Yeah, I got that. We got the project out right now with Jay Murder from Team Hami. We got a song called Old Days, which is featuring Method Man from Wu-Tang Clan. Amazing record. I produced the entire project. It's called The Gulag. We have plans to work on a Gulag Part 2. I'm working on a compilation as well. Like I said, I've been secretly working on a compilation. I don't know what I'm going to title the project yet. I also have the new Queen's Anthem that I am working on. I presently have about 13 artists, or maybe 14 artists. I'm trying to cap it at 25 and then release that record. I'm doing that not for profit, not for nothing, just to do the record. Because I feel like it's a good idea to have a record with all Queens rappers and, you know, artists that are known and recognized, you know? So yeah, I got that coming. But yeah, shout out to everybody who I'm working with presently. If I forgot you, you know who you are, you know. And yeah, let's just keep this thing going and let's rock out till the wheels fall off.
That's what I'm talking about. Bostick in the building. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was an amazing talk. Thank you so much, Mr. Tafel. Thank you so much, Mr. Loden. Yeah, so remember, if you're watching at home, tune in tonight, 97.7 FM.
Yeah,
and
97.7 FM, Outlaw Radio. It's outlawradiolive.ca. It's in Prescott, Ontario, Canada.
Absolutely.
If you go to my Instagram, all the links are there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if people want to collaborate with you,
they can just
how
reach
do
out
they
to me
reach
on
you?
Instagram.
Instagram. Absolutely.
Reach out to me on Instagram. Reach out to me on Facebook. I'm not a big head celebrity, and I do answer. If it's about some business, and it ain't just you being in my DM acting crazy, I'll have the conversation with you. Cause yeah, there's a lot of crazy.
William Bostick.
People hit me up on Facebook so we can exchange that information.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you so much if you're watching on Instagram. Thank you so much if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube. Sorry I couldn't read your comments, but I promise you, Bostick will jump into them and then he will respond if you have questions for him. And I'll also do the same. This is the Global Sunday Show. Real talk, real people, real time. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Bye.
Sayanyuki, sayanyuki, Yesuri kama sayanyuki, 혼자 sikia 참사나 wana Yesuniye sayanyuki, Dawayaroho, Dawayaroho, Yesuri kama Dawayaroho, 혼자 sikia 참사나
The sound of a 19-year-old kid.
I like that one.
Myself acting and it is more strength and more effort.
More TV shows.
In the African people.
But here we are self-made hustlers.
The sound of a 19-year-old kid.
Around the world.
It's wonder.
Music against violence.
There's a queen in every woman. That was such a powerful message that.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, I don't want you guys to miss out on this one.
Strategy. Strategy. See this beauty? It's all in one, man. What do you want?
Of being a leader. The sound of a 19-year-old kid.
That wasn't him.
We, the people.
If you sing about love, you sing to your gospel.
Hello, Mama Miriam. Eva.
Hey, Charles, Silverboy, and greetings to the audience out across the world. It doesn't matter what is your background or what is your status at the moment. There is nobody who knows you than yourself.
Hey, Carter Ford in the building. Best global studio. Yo, rude.
I no man to commit singers. And if I'm going to speak English, I have to give you an invoice because I've paid to learn English. But
So I'm giving you the name Diva. Diva.
Thank you, Banuga.
Hopefully, my bark is as good as my bite.
All the countries around Africa, everybody was black. Even in America, the blacks, they fought for freedom,
Yes.
but I'm not even there now. Now we need to be saved from ourselves, because as a nation, as a black nation, I see a lot of anger issues from the brothers. The women are being killed, the children are being killed, murdered, raped. They even raped their grandma.
I'll actually have to start right there.
It's real simple, I'm uttering shut the fuck up or get your ass dumped in the back of a garbage truck. You dumb fuck, you chump, you never grip the pump. Don't get your face covered in blood for the bitch shit you want. These bullets is napalm, imported from Pakistan. Yes, we study Quran, alhamdulillah. Pipe spark when it's popping like out the fish fry. We strategize on how to minimize any opposing side. We leaders of the new enterprise with crime ties connected to heavy pies. We wise guys, homicides and exercise in order to maintain order. So I order me a hit, all them niggas hit your daughter. There's no rules when engaging in warfare. The only rule is never to play fair. We apes here, every nigga top tier. Squeeze without fear. Stand up niggas that will take that shit right to the chair. So you need to quit the tough talk before the gun spark and they find your ass in the state park. While I'm eating steak park, bitch, bout 5'4". Nickname, yeah, pussy galore.